Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations with Coaches. My name is Khushi Jain and I'm the content marketer here at Shetty Certification School. Today we have a very special guest. He is a multifaceted, very talented, and just does so many things. It's so surprising, but I'm so excited to get him on this call and talk to him about this. He is definitely a Jay Shetty life coach and is a podcast host where it's called What's Up and What's Next, where he talks to and inspires so many people to live a very passion driven life, doing what they love doing and helping them unlock their true potential. So I'm going to invite him now and we're going to have a candid conversation with Eric. I have sent the invite. And I think he has joined us. Hi, Eric. How are you doing?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Let me just adjust the camera. Okay, cool.
Okay,
We're
great.
good.
How's your day going, Eric?
It's not too bad, not too bad. Busy day at work, but I've been looking forward to this conversation actually, so it's really good to see you. How are you, Kishi?
I'm good. Likewise, I'm so glad to be connecting with. I've actually had another live conversation with Dee this past, I think, within this week. So it's just been great to get back into actually talking to you guys because everyone's story is so inspiring. So I'm definitely very happy that we're able to connect today. And just to tell our audience where you are, I know that you lived in Portugal all your life and then moved to the UK. So I guess you're there now. But yeah, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and then we'll go from
Yeah.
there.
No, 100%. Thank you so much, Kushi. And it's really good to see you as well. So my name's Eric Jivraj. I was born and raised in Portugal my whole life. And I actually like to say that a lot because Portuguese has got all these amazing weather. It's sunny all the time. And so it's kind of nice to say Portugal. But I moved to the UK about 6 years ago. Time flies. I was just thinking, wow, 6 years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I moved to the UK about 6 years ago, and I've been here ever since. The weather isn't as nice, but I've done a lot of amazing things whilst I've been here, and this is my new home until further notice.
Right. And I completely agree. The weather may not be nice, but if you're doing what you enjoy doing and you like your life now, I think that's all that matters. I'm also in New York, so it's going to start getting super cold soon. Not a big fan of
Oh,
it, but it's about, the entire thing altogether. So the city is great. And that's what I love about this place too. So Eric, tell us about your experience as a life coach and how you chose to come into this profession and how it's going for you.
yeah, and so as a life coach, I graduated. I joined the Shetty Certification School at the beginning of this year. And then within 3 months, I had finished it and graduated and became a certified Shetty life coach. I can tell you that for those 3 months, I was just breathing, eating, and living life coaching. Like there was nothing else I was doing. In my free time, in my lunch hour break from my work, because obviously I have a 9 to 5 job, all I was doing was just studying and just really breathing that life coach life. And so that's how I ended up sort of graduating later on in June. And I've been a certified life coach ever since with an actual business setup and everything. And it's been great. How I sort of stumbled upon it wasn't necessarily an accident. It was a very, very intentional move. And it kind of relates to my purpose. And so I'm going to speak about my purpose because I think there's a very beautiful connection there.
Yeah.
So my purpose in life, and I think about this every single day, Kushi. By the way, can you hear me okay? Is it okay? Yeah. Cool. So my purpose in life, and I think about this every single day, is to make people feel better, do better, and be better. That's just my pure, simple purpose. It's just that, to make people feel better, do better, and be better. And I want to break that down a little bit with you, Kushi, if that's okay. So let's talk about feel better. As humans, we feel a lot of things. But the problem is we don't always understand those feelings. We don't always understand those emotions, right? But that's a different story. But we feel a lot of things. So let me ask you something, Kushi, if it's okay. When was the last time you went home?
To family in India?
Yes, to see family, yes.
So it was actually quite recent. I was there the entire summer. So I met It was the end of August when I was last home.
Okay. And do you remember like every single word that they said?
No.
No. Okay. But do you remember how you felt?
Yeah, like being home was a great feeling.
Right. And so that's the thing is, as humans, we don't always remember what people say or what people do, but we always remember how they made us feel. All
That's
right. And so that's where the feel better comes in is we always, no matter what, Kushi, we remember how we felt. If we felt happy, we remember it. If we felt sad, we remember it. If we felt angry or upset, we remember it. If we felt upset or disappointed, we remember it. But we always remember that feeling. We might not always remember the situation. Like, for example, you might have had an argument with your friend 5 years ago. You probably don't even remember what you guys argued about, but you remember how you felt in that moment. And so the reason why I was asking you about how you felt with your family is because you remember the feeling, but you don't remember what they said word for word. You might remember some conversations, but not everything. So that's where the feel better comes into play. And then the do better, right? So I want to make people feel better, do better, and be better. Do better. I believe that no matter what your background is, your circumstances, your life situations, I just believe that you always have a choice. If you are not changing something, you are choosing something, right? That's the cycle of life. Life is just very straightforward in that sense. It's always about making choices. You're always making choices at every single point in time. At every minute of your day, Kushi, you're making a choice. You're either actively and consciously making a choice, or you are subconsciously and passively making a choice. It's either active and conscious or passive and subconscious, but you're always making a choice. For example, if you go to the gym, you are choosing to grow your muscles, you are choosing to look after your health. That's a choice. If you don't go to the gym, you are choosing to not grow your muscles and you are choosing to not look after your physical health. It's a choice. If you have a plant at home and you water it every day you go and water it, you are choosing to nurture that plant. If you have a plant at home, but you never water it, you are choosing to let the plant die. So at every single point in time, you're always making a choice. You're always choosing. It's either active and conscious or it's passive and subconscious, but the choice is always there. And then the be better. So do better, so feel better, do better, and now the be better. I think a decade or two ago, right, 2 decades ago, let's say, we didn't have as much access to information, data, and knowledge, right? Our previous generations, all they had was the people around them to gain knowledge from, or reading physical books, right? Going to the library or just getting a hold of books or manuscripts. We fast forward to now, and that's not our problem anymore. We don't really struggle with getting information because we have the internet, right? I mean, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation if the internet didn't exist. So straight away, I can access, you, Kushi, you can access me, we can have a conversation. I can learn from you, you can learn from me. That in and of itself is beautiful because we never had this opportunity 2 decades ago. So we have all this information, which means we can be better every day, right? I can learn something today that I will take away and apply in my life. I can learn something from you today, Kushi, that I'll remember, okay, Kushi said this, I'm going to remember that and I'm going to apply in my life, right? So there's always an opportunity for growth. And my life motto, I really love this one quote. I don't know whose quote it is, but I really love it. It says, always be a better person today than you were yesterday. And if you do that every single day of your life, by the end of your life, you would have been the best version of yourself. And for me, that is so beautiful. That's what I want. I want to be the best version of myself. So there's always an opportunity. Every day that you wake up, there's an opportunity for you to be better. And I don't think you should aim to be better by 100%. I think every day just aim to be better 1%. Maybe today I could say something nice and kind to someone that I saw on the street. Or maybe I could do a good deed today. There's always an opportunity to be better, even just by 1%. And if you better by 1% every day, in 100 days, you'll be better 100%, right? So that's the beauty of it, is that you can always get a choice of being better. So going back, and I'm sorry, I know I've gone for a bit long, but going back to my purpose in life, it's really just to make people feel better, do better, and be better. And I express that in many ways. And by the way, thank you so much for the kind introduction. And I want to touch on that. The way I express my purpose is through having a podcast, called the What's Up and What's Next podcast. It's a personal development podcast. I release episodes every week, and it's about life topics. And I'm also a content creator. I make videos online on social media, especially TikTok. I post 3 videos every day, motivational videos, inspirational videos. And of course, I'm also like a life coach. Like I said, Shetty Certified Life Coach. And I help so many clients to unlock their potential, overcome obstacles, and achieve their goals. So what I'm trying to say is purpose is not one-dimensional. Purpose is multidimensional, because you could express that same purpose to so many different platforms.
That is, every word that you have spoken has had some sort of impact on me, and I'm going to take everything that you've said for the rest of my life, because it's the motto for me now, like be better, do better, and feel better. And I think they're all interconnected too. I think one is connected to the other, and like if you do better, you will feel better, and like vice versa. So that is something that is so impactful, and I'm sure the audience here will carry that with them as well. Striving to improve every day, even if it's like a small amount. And I think the smallest of changes that you make compound into becoming a lot bigger in the long run. And I think it is about, life is about the small things. It's about the small moments, the small emotions, the small gestures of kindness that you do for each other that actually become the biggest, that's how you go to bed happy and wake up in a good mood. And as humans, sometimes we think, oh, like everything needs to be perfect. No, everything just needs to be good enough, and you need to feel good enough. Like that's all we need. So I think, thank you for saying that. You have impacted me so positively today, and I'm sure you're doing that every day with your podcast and your content creation. Keep doing what you're doing. So inspiring.
Thank you.
My next question to you is that if you could go back in time, or if you could like correct one mistake that you think that you made, what would it be, and what would you do with that?
I think the one mistake that, because you mentioned the word mistake, and that's what stood out to me. I think the one mistake I've made that turned out to actually be a lesson is this idea of happiness being conditional. And this is something that a mistake that I made, and I realized that later, and it turned out to be a lesson, is I made happiness conditional. And what I mean by this is happiness is by default an unconditional concept. Okay, it's an unconditional concept. There's no conditions on it. There's no way that you can shape it to have any conditions. But as humans, the majority of us, for the majority of our lives, what we've done is we've said things like, I'll be happy when, I'll be happy if, I'll be happy when I get a new car, I'll be happy if I get a new car, I'll be happy when I get a new promotion at my job, I'll be happy if I get a new promotion at my job, I'll be happy when I become a millionaire, I'll be happy if I become a millionaire. So notice how it's always about the whens and the ifs, but we just turned a concept like happiness, a concept that has no conditions, and we said, hold up, I want to put a condition on it. I'm only happy if this happens. I'm only happy if that happens. I'm only happy when that happens. Yeah. So now we've turned something that's supposed to be beautiful, and we've ruined it for us, because we're saying, I can only be happy when certain conditions are met. And for the longest time, I genuinely thought that my happiness was based around conditions. And that was just a mistake that turned into a lesson. And I learned this the hard way, by the way, Kush. I really learned it the hard way. I was like, okay, when I finally got the job that I wanted to, I was like, oh, so it doesn't feel the way I thought it was going to feel. When I got certain milestones and goals achieved in my life, I realized that they don't feel the way I thought they would feel. Chasing money in the corporate world and going through your career progression, I thought that was going to, get me the happiness that I always supposedly wanted, but it didn't. Surprise, surprise, Kushi. It didn't. I wasn't happy or happier like I thought I would be. And that's all because we said happiness has these conditions and there are some expectations, right? So I expect to feel this way if this condition is met. But when this condition is met, I don't feel that way. Now I'm unhappy. And I spend a whole lifetime unhappy. And so when I realized this, I was like, okay, well, I can choose to be happy right now. I don't have to wait to be happy. I don't have to wait for happiness. I can just embrace happiness. I don't have to suppress happiness. I can just express happiness. I don't have to ignore happiness. I can choose happiness. And that was the biggest mistake I made earlier on, which was not realizing all of this. And that turned into the biggest lesson in my life.
I'm speechless right now. I have no questions. This has been great. I've enjoyed this conversation so much. Also, the way you speak, I can tell that you're a podcaster. Like, it's very impactful and you're meant for this. You are doing what your purpose is, and I'm so glad that you found it. Choosing happiness, I feel okay. So I also remember when you were saying all this, I remember a candid conversation that I had with one of my friends, not a coach, and he was like, we humans are very simple. Like, life can be so simple and we complicate things, and we make happiness conditional. We make our worth conditional. Like, if I like look a certain way, or if I get this attention or this job or whatever, then I will be happy, then I will be satisfied and accept myself. But I feel like acceptance and love for yourself and caring for yourself is the most important thing, because when you do that, you're able to give the love to others. That's when you are fully giving, and when you're fully ready to, like, devote yourself and so be of service to others. So not in like a selfish way or like put yourself first all the time, but just knowing that, like, treat yourself the same way you would treat another person, with the same level of kindness and compassion, is just so important too. So that was, I mean, I've taken so much from this conversation, so thank you for that. I don't want to ask you another question. I want you to take it for the audience, and I want you to give them some, like, a piece of advice and culminate this entire lovely conversation that we've had.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I want to say, like, even the words that you share, Kushi, are really, like, impactful to me too. So I feel like it's not a one-way street, it's like a two-way street, right? It's not one-dimensional, it's multi-dimensional. I'm getting the same impact by the words that you mentioned. Right. And even when you reflect on your experiences, I can really tell that you mean them, and I can feel it. So I just want to say thank you as well, because, like, I've enjoyed this a lot. And hopefully we get to do this again sometime soon, part two. I'd love to. I think just closing thoughts. I try to think about what is at the front of my mind every day. And I'll share with you what is at the front of my mind, and I'll share that as my last words for this life. Everything in life comes in seasons. Absolutely everything in life comes in seasons. There are good seasons, there are bad seasons, there are better seasons, there are worse seasons. Yeah. But I want to remind you all that it's just a season. That's all it is. It's a bad season. If you're going through bad times right now, it's a bad season. It's not a bad life. But we struggle to understand that, because when we go through these bad times, we feel like it's the end of the world. It definitely feels like that. I know that, because I've been there multiple times where something happens. I'm like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. It's the worst thing ever, right? But the interesting thing about this, it relates to a theory called the hot and cold theory. I don't know, have you heard about that before, Kushi? Hot and cold theory? Okay, so I'm just going to quickly tell you. Yeah. So the hot and cold theory is basically when you're feeling very, very hot, right? When you're feeling so hot, it's kind of hard for you to imagine what it's like to feel cold. In the moment when you're feeling hot, it's very hard for you to imagine what it's like to feel cold. And the other is also correct, right? When you are feeling super, super cold, it's very hard for you to imagine what it's like to feel hot. Right. So both of them, it's when you feel something, it's hard to imagine. So that applies to life. I think life has a very similar view and lens, which is when we're going through good times, it's very hard to imagine that we're going to feel bad times, or that we're going to feel bad. And when we're going through bad times, it's very, very hard to imagine and feel what it would be like to have the good times. And that's why things like, it's going to be okay, you're going to be fine, things will get better. That's why those things don't really make us feel better when people say it, because, well, like, I can't imagine that right now. I'm going through the worst time of my life, and you're telling me it's going to get better, but it doesn't feel like it right now. It's because we struggle to imagine the opposite end, right? When it's hot, it's really hard to imagine cold. When it's cold, it's really hard to imagine hot. And what I want you to take away from this is, again, what we need to understand is life is made of seasons. There will be good seasons and there will be bad seasons. And it's very hard to imagine feeling good when you're going through bad. And it's very hard to imagine feeling bad when you're going through good. But just remember that not everything is final. Everything is just a season. And you will get those better seasons if you just persist, you be patient, you work hard, and you really believe in yourself. Because that's what it comes down to. It's believing in yourself. And so I hope that everyone here thinks that and believes that.
Sorry, someone in the audience just said something, and they said, "This too shall pass." And I think that's actually a great line to end on. Like, whatever you're going through, if it's bad, this too shall pass. If it's good, celebrate it, but don't attach yourself to it, because, like you said, life is part of, like, you will have ups and downs. So I feel like feeling the extreme emotion for like bad or good is not healthy. Keeping everything in like a moderate way, like if something great is happening, celebrate it, but don't attach yourself to it so much that like when it leaves or in the absence of it, you feel, like something has been removed. No, you need to be as calm and composed through it all. So I think that is, yeah, definitely one of the best ways to go about life, and have it be like a moderate sort of approach where I'm taking it one day at a time and I'm loving what I'm doing. And yes, some days will be good, some days won't be that great. And that is part of life, and it's not something that dictates who you are. That is life, and that is the beauty of it as well. So thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking, actually like guiding all of us here today. And we will definitely have you on again. And if there's anyone in the audience that wants to connect with Eric, he is a social media content creator. He's on TikTok. He has a podcast called What's Up and What's Next. So definitely you can find his Instagram. I will tag it right after this call. And yeah, would love to, have our audience come to you. And also, if there's anyone that wants to share their story and be over here and is a certified life coach and wants to, just contribute and impact lives, please reach out. We're doing these weekly sessions, so would love to have you guys on as well. Thank you, Eric. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Thank you, Chrissy. Bye.
Bye.